Hello, hello. Miss Hung here. As you can see, we have a quiz tomorrow. I don't need to remind you, it is your responsibility to remember, but for those watching the video, you get to see this cute little koala bear. Um, what is the quiz over? Again, we wrote this in our agenda books today, so it's a good place to look is your interactive notebook, pages 12, 13, and 14. This double P means pages plural. I would also look in the binder so that you know which worksheets go with that, and it's in your unit 2. So here's our interactive notebook. Okay, so pages 12 here, okay, and 13, okay, and then also 14, which is naming angles, knowing how to name certain angles, okay? All right. Don't worry about page 15 yet. That is something that's just fresh on your brains now, so we will practice more with that, but yeah, don't worry about page 15. Okay, so really make sure that you practice and study. It's okay, you guys got this, as long as you study, which means, look at this boy. He's got a pencil in his hand. So studying doesn't mean you just look at your paper, you actually practice and maybe hide the problem and then do it again and see if you can figure it out, okay? All right, so here we go. Oh, where did my worksheet go? I just had it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I believe we all did number 16 together in class. Now, I'm going to use two methods, all right? So for those of you that like the method that we showed you, some of you guys like doing it with the solving equations certain ways. So if you're watching this video and you prefer one method over the other, then you can obviously fast forward through the method that I'm explaining and then just go to the method that you prefer. I do believe that the best method is to use method 1, but if you're not comfortable with that yet and you want to try method 2, then by all means use that until you can get comfortable enough to try method 1 again, okay? All right, so we're going to start with number 16. So number 16 says, in the figure below, find the measure, let me focus this, it says find the measure of angle RSU. Okay, so where is that? You start at R, then go to S, then go to U. So RSU. So it's referring to that angle. So in order to find that, we need to figure out what X is, because once we plug X in, then multiply it by 8 plus 18, we'll know what the actual measure of this angle is. So now if you take a look here, guys, you have to know what kind of angle relationship this is, because this angle and this adjacent angle, their opposite sides form a line. The word line, linear pair. So this is a linear pair. Linear pairs are always supplementary, so that means they are always going to add up to be 180. All right, so here's method number 1. Okay, so if I say blank plus blank equals 180, then, well, this is true for both methods. You're still going to set it up the same way. Okay, all right, so then, and you're still going to substitute in 8x plus 18, and then 3x minus 3, and then draw your line. Method number 2 does the same, and then draw your line. Now again, I would say that the preferred method is method 1, but if you're not comfortable with 1 yet and you need to do method 2, then you can do that until you can be ready to do method 1. So here we go. We got a box, circle, box, circle, circle. You do that with method 2 as well. It would be a good idea to always know what your terms are. Okay, for method 1, this is where it's going to be different. So method 1, you combine like terms on one side. 8x plus 3x is 11x. And then 18 plus a negative 3 is positive 15. You should always practice in your calculator. And remember, in this video, pause at any time and try to do as much as on your own as possible. If you need to go back and rework it, then obviously you can rewind the video. So then what we have here is we want to get rid of this constant. So we do 11x equals 180 minus 15. So 180 minus 15 equals 165. And then we just divide each side by 11. And x equals 15. All right, now we don't see the answer 15 here, and there's a reason, but I'll get back to that in a second. Okay, so that's the value for x. Now let's go, the method 2 are for those that prefer doing the variable constant method, which means you put all the variables on this side, the constants on this side, and if they have to switch sides, then you change your sign. So 8x is on the same side, so you put 8x. Positive 3x is on the same side, so you put 3x. You have a 180 here that's already on this side. 18 is going to cross over, so you have to change it to negative 18. Negative 3 is crossing over, so positive 3. Now for this part, all you do is add them all up. So 8x plus 3x, that's just 8 plus 3. It's 11. So 11, and don't forget it's an x though. And then this, you do 180, okay? 180 plus negative 18 plus 3. And you get 165, which is the same as what we got over here. And then this part you still have to do. You have to divide each side by 11, and x equals 15. Okay? So that's a start, but here you don't see the answer 15, and good thing, because if there was, you might have fallen for a trap, because the question says to find the measure of angle RSU. X equals 15 is not the measure, so what you literally have to do is put the 15 here. Okay? So then it becomes, since there's invisibly multiplication between the 8 and the x, you write 8 times 15 and then plus 18. PEMDAS says to do multiplication before addition. So 8 times 15, 8 times 15, equals 120, and then you add the 18. So this angle here is 138 degrees. So we're going to bubble this in. Okay? All right. Number 17. So number 17 here, it says, in the figure below, oh no, we said we're going to skip that one, so we're skipping that one. Number 18. In the figure below, find the measure of angle AMC. So let's find out where that is. AMC. Oh, they're referring to that angle. Okay, so first look at, okay, I need to know what x is. So in order to find x, let's see what relationship we can set up in an equation. This is a linear pair again. What do we know about linear pairs? They are supplementary. What does that mean? Blank plus blank equals 180. Okay? So I'm going to do method number 1. So with method number 1, well, I'm going to do both at the same time for a second here. So I'm going to do, let's clearly put that one over here. So method number 1, you would still do blank plus blank equals 180. Method number 2 would still do blank plus blank equals 180. Okay? So depending on which method you choose, okay, I'll put method 1 and method 2. Again, I would prefer you guys know how to do method 1, but method 2 is a good way to start until you get comfortable with method 1. So let's go ahead and do this linear pair. So what's one of the angles, like 5x plus 19? Now some of you might be like, does that have to be first? No, because in the end they all get added anyway. Alright, so you got to do the same here for the other method. Alright, we're still going to box and circle for both methods. Remember, you only have to do one of the methods. You don't have to do both. Okay, so now for method 1, this is where it's going to be different. Method 1, we combine like terms. So 5x plus 5x happens to be 10x. 19 plus 1 is 20 equals 180. And then you subtract 20 from both sides because those are the constants. Then 10x equals 160. You divide. Did I do that right? Yeah. X should equal 16. Okay? Now once again, You should not see it here. I will give you a clue. This is a trap because that's not answering the question. That's x. That's not the actual measure of the angle. So we will not fall for that one, okay? So method number 2. So those of you that prefer that method, you write variable and constant here, and you create your bar. All the variables that are on this side, so we got a 5x, we got another 5x that are both positive. We got a 180 here. The 19 crosses over, becomes negative 19. The 1 crosses over, becomes negative 1. So then we got 5x plus 5x, that's 10x. And then add all these up, so you got 180 plus 19 negative plus 1 negative equals 160. Then divide, and you get x equals 160 divided by 10 is 16, okay? So 16. So we both got x equals 16. Now, why should it, this one, if you're not careful, that's a trap because they're wanting to see if you'll actually answer the question. So we actually need to put 16 in for angle AMC right here. We need to put that in. So we got to substitute that in, which means instead of 5 times x plus 1, it'll be 5 times 16 plus 1. Okay, so multiplication happens before addition. So 5 times 16 is 80. Add the 1, and it's 81 degrees. And then that's the answer, B. So be careful. That is a trap. That is a trap. Don't fall for the trap. Okay? Number 19. So these two angles are actually complementary because of this 90-degree angle. Now, what do we know about complementary angles? Well, complementary angles always add up to being 90. So we're going to use that to solve for x. Now, once again, be careful what the question is asking, okay? So we're going to go ahead and use 2 different methods for this, okay? And you use one of them, preferably method 1, but method 2 is fine for now. Okay? So method 1, both of them, you're going to do blank plus blank equals 90 this time because they're complementary. Okay. And then we're going to do 2x minus 3, one of the angles, and then the other one is 4x plus 9. Do the same here. Okay. So then, box and circle for both methods. Okay. So here's where the methods differ. Let's do method 1. So you combine like terms. So 2x plus 4x is positive 6x. Negative 3 plus 9 is a positive 6. Again, you can check with your calculators. Subtract 6 from both sides. 90 minus 6 is 84. Divide, divide. So let's see. X, 84 divided by 6. Oops, what did I press? 84 divided by 6, 14. Now, once again, do you see a trap? It is not A. Ooh, man, and it's the first one. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it, because they didn't ask for X only. They asked for angle SQR. So let's go ahead and do method 2. Those of you that prefer that, you write variable constant. You have 2x. You have 4x. Then you have 90. Crossover becomes negative 9. Oops, not that one. Crossover, that becomes positive 3. Alright, so add them up. 2x plus 4x is 6x. 90, okay, plus negative 9 plus 3 equals 84. Divide, divide. So x should equal 14, which I know it does because we did it over here already. So, but remember, that's not the final answer. So you would want to plug that 14 in for wherever angle SQR is. Now be careful, don't plug it into this one, because if you do, you might end up picking the wrong answer. Okay, make sure you plug it into the correct angle. So SQR is this angle, which means we want to plug 14 in there. Okay, so what we have then is, instead of 4 times x plus 9, it's 4 times 14 plus 9. PEMDAS says do multiplication first. So 14 times 4 equals, and then add 9. So that's 65. So it's a 65-degree angle, which is D. Okay. Number 20. Now remember, if I'm going too fast, you have the opportunity to pause, rewind as much as you need. In the figure below, find the measure of angle RNT. Where is that? RNT. Okay, so this angle. Well, conveniently, it's across from the 135. That's vertical. And vertical angles are always congruent or equal to each other. So if this is 135, this is 135. If you want to know the method, like you can also do blank equals blank, and then 135 has to equal 135. So the answer is C. That's like a 5-second problem if you recognize it. Moving on, 21. All right, so this one's asking you to find the measure of angle YWS, this angle right here. Well, what is given to us? What else do we know? We know this angle, and the reason I'm using double here is because these are not the same. If these were the same measure, then I would put the same single, okay? So, but together I see that they are adjacent and their opposite sides form a line. So this is a linear pair. And linear pairs are supplementary, so blank plus blank equals 180. But since this is just a number, you could just take 180 and subtract 55 to find the remaining angle. So 180 minus 55 equals 125. And that's actually your answer, okay? It's like a 5-second question, maybe 10 seconds if you have to think about what this means. Skipping number 22, and then number 23. In the figure below, find the measure of angle NPR. So let's see where that is. NPR. Oh, that's another linear pair because if you look at it with 78, which is helpful to us, this is another linear pair. Am I running out of ink? No. Which again means you just need to do 180 minus 78. Okay, so 180 minus 78 is 102. Okay, look at that. That's a trap. Don't put that. You know why? Because if you think this is vertical, then you might think that these are the same. But look how this is acute and that's obtuse. That should give you some hint. Okay, so C is the correct answer. 24 says find the measure of angle YWP. Okay, so we're going to notice that these YWP is this angle. But we also have some information here which together is forming a linear pair. So I'm going to set it up using my different methods. Okay, so here we go. So method 1 and method 2. Okay, so method 1, well, both of them are the same. Remember, linear pair, blank plus blank should equal 180. Blank plus blank should equal 180. Okay, so for this one, 6x plus 9, 3x minus 27. Same here, 6x. I should write a little bit neater to fit it all in. All right, this part's the same, and so is this part. Don't forget that negative. Sometimes our own handwriting messes us up if we're not careful. Alright, so here I'm going to do method 1 first, combine like terms, and then you see 9x, and then 9 plus a negative 27. My brain is tired today, so let's try 27 negative plus 9, okay, negative 18. So minus 18 equals 180. Now since that's negative, you add it to both sides, inverse operations, and then that's going to be 198. Divide, divide. Okay, 198 divided by 9. X equals 22, but that's not what we're trying to find. And look over here. Do not fall for this. It's another trap. And look, it's the first thing you see. I'm telling you, test makers know what they're doing, and you need to show them you know what you're doing. Okay, so method 2. For those that prefer this method, you can do variable constant, okay? And the variables that are on this side, I have a 6x and a 3x. That's a 6. And then we have a 180 on this side already. We're going to bring this negative 27, make it positive 27, and then positive 9 becomes negative 9. And you add them all up. So this is going to be 9x. Let's add the others. So 180 plus 27 plus 9 negative equals 198. And then you divide, which is what we did in this method, so I already know the answer is going to be x equals 22. But that's not what we're looking for. So let's go back over to the actual problem, and don't fall for that trap, because this is telling you to find the actual measure of the angle. So let's go back. So YWP is this angle. We want that one, which means we're going to plug in our 22 here. Where did the 22 come from? Is where we found x. So instead of 6 times x plus 9, we're going to do 6 times 22 plus 9. Let's multiply that. So 6 times 22. 6 times 22 equals 132 plus 9. Well, 132 plus 9 should be 141. Okay? That's the actual measure of angle YWP, which is this one. And again, pause. Try to do this on your own. If you are following me the entire time, I would strongly suggest that you recopy this problem on a separate sheet of paper and see if you can do it again, okay, without my help. So this one here is saying find the measure of angle FEH. Where is that? Oh, it's this angle right here. Now, thankfully, there's something there and also something across from it. This is a vertical angle pair. What do we know about verticals? They're equal to each other, so you should do blank equals blank. There's no 180, there's no 90, they're simply equal to each other, and that's how you treat it. So let's try the two methods. So method 1, method 2. Okay, so they're both the same in that you're going to equal them to each other. Okay, and one of them has a 7x plus 4, the other one's an 8x minus 7. Alright, now box and circling is the same for both methods. Okay, so we're going to do this one. We have a variable on both sides. Let's move the smaller one, so subtract it. And you get 4 equals 8x minus 7x is 1x minus 7. If you want to get rid of this, just add 7 to both sides. And you get 11 equals 1x or just x. Well, they didn't have that as a trap answer this time, so that's good. Alright, so now those of you that prefer this method, you have variable and constant. Now, you got a variable here, 7x. You also have a variable here, but it's going to cross over, so you're going to have to make it negative 8x. You have a negative 7 here already, and then this is crossing over, so you need to make it a negative 4. Now add all those up. 7 plus a negative 8 is a negative 1x. And then negative 7 plus a negative 4 is negative 11. So divide each side by negative 1 so that it becomes positive 1 here. And then this negative divided by negative is positive 11, which should be the same. Now, we're going to plug that x equals 11 into the angle that they're asking us to find. Be careful which one you plug into because, yeah, so angle FEH, we are plugging in, what was it, 11. So 11's going in here. And the cool thing is, actually, for vertical, if you plug it in here, you should also get the same answer because they're going to be the exact same angle measures. So we're going to plug it into this one since it asked for that one. So 8 times 11 minus 7, because the 11 came from the work that we did earlier. Multiply first, 88 minus 7, looks like that's going to be an 81-degree angle, slightly acute, and that is our answer. If you followed me the entire time on the video without pausing it, I would strongly suggest that you do a few of these problems without the video and just recopy it and try it again. Alright guys, don't forget about your quiz tomorrow, and I hope you do well on tonight's homework.